This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for September 28th, 5:30 p.m. As usual, I'll start out with a graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We have new tropical depression number 16 near the Isle of Youth, Cuba, and this should move through Cuba tonight and into South Florida in the early morning hours as a minimal tropical storm, passing through Florida and up into South and North Carolina, where it will merge with a frontal system, and a stronger area of low pressure will take over up here and dissipate what could become Nicole within the next 24 hours as it approaches the North Carolina, South Carolina border here. And then what's going to happen after that is we'll have another area of low pressure move through the Bahamas and into the Atlantic. A high pressure ridge builds in, and then all eyes are on this system out here east of the Windward and Leeward Islands. Some models are indicating this is going to develop over in here somewhere and head towards Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. So we have a lot to keep track of. Let's get to the images. First of all, let's start with the HurTrack program and show you our animation of what's going to happen. Here we go. Early morning tomorrow, moves through South Florida, and then in the afternoon, in the evening hours, it leaves Florida and heads towards North Carolina, where it dissipates as it becomes merged with a funnel system. And this should affect Fort Lauderdale directly as a tropical storm, and Miami. They've already been affected by Tropical Storm Bonnie earlier in the hurricane season. This will be the second named storm to affect South Florida this year, but no hurricanes have come through South Florida. All right, let's take a look at the forecast cone of air from the National Hurricane Center, and you can see the system is 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It's directly over South Florida. By the way, I'll be out there tomorrow driving around with the dash cam going in all likelihood. Now, if this never materializes in anything, I will not be doing that, but we will leave the tower cam up, which is right here. Our tower cam is live 24 hours a day on the cam page at Hurricane City, and that'll be live streaming at hurricanecity.tv tomorrow along with the dash cam if the situation develops further. All right, let's take a look at the models on this situation. And the basic model cluster is directly over South Florida, moving through Florida into South Carolina, North Carolina. Only the Canadian model keeps it offshore and bounces it around in the northeastern United States. Most of the other models take it inland, where they've already had a ton of rain around the North Carolina, South Carolina border and up into Virginia. It's been a very heavy rain, so they're expecting more rain in this area here. It's going to be tremendous amounts of rainfall coming down. All we can hope for at this point is this moves very quickly through the area and does not give them too much rain, but they've already had a bucket of it. So we'll see what happens over the coming days. All right, the hurricane hunters, they're flying around out there right now and not finding very much. There is some indication this may have been a tropical storm earlier today, but it's broad. It's a very broad area of low pressure. And if you look at the wind barbs from the hurricane hunters, you can see that first of all, there's no vortex message, meaning they're having trouble closing this system off. But the wind barbs are only showing here some winds around 35, 40 miles an hour to the southeast of the center. But when you get near the actual center of circulation, the winds are very light. It's almost like an extratropical type system already, where the highest winds are well removed from the center. And again, as you get closer to the center, where you have 20, 25 mile an hour winds, and that's about it. So that should be passing through South Florida. So the wind, if this stays at the current intensity, South Florida is not going to get very much in the form of wind out of this system. All right, here is a close-up visible shot of the system showing the wind barbs, and this is from University of Wisconsin. And you can see the banding here. There's big, large rotation here, but very light winds. Most of the highest winds are down in here. And again, if you extrapolate that over South Florida, most of these winds should remain offshore if this system remains in the same intensity that it is right now. Here are the watches and warnings. There's tropical storm warnings all through the Florida Keys, up the eastern seaboard, up to West Palm Beach and Fort Pierce. And they become watches up in there, but it looks like this is going to just affect this area with tropical storm force winds. This is very highly unlikely that this is going to be anywhere near hurricane status when it approaches South Florida tomorrow. And here is the closest point of approach over South Florida, directly inland, just west of Miami as a 40-knot tropical storm. It's 45 mile an hour winds. And our current feature tomorrow will more than likely be Miami, because that should be right at the epicenter where the center is going to come in to reflect all of South Florida. And there's going to be a lot of interesting webcams to keep track of. Here's all the only system that was in the same exact position as number 16 is in this exact same time of the year between September 27th and 29th. Hurricane Hilda back in 64 was moving west-northwest, turned north and hit central Louisiana as a major hurricane up here, and it came in just west of Morgan City, Louisiana, near Intracoastal City, Louisiana, with Category 3 winds. Luckily, this is not that situation right now, but it shows you that this time of the year, systems can move into the Gulf from the west-northwest and then hit the northern Gulf Coast this time of the year. Here's a webcam from Cuba. This is from Havana, and this can be found on the cam link on the drop-down menu on the link that's current link at Hurricane City next to the tracking chart that's Cienfuegos. And this is from Havana, well northwest of Cienfuegos on the north coast of Cuba. And you can see it looks like dry roads out here. Like you're not even getting anything in Cuba right now. So that's pretty much the situation. And again, here's our webcam here. And you can see there's dark clouds in the distance, but really not much in the form of rain today. There's been some scattered showers around. We haven't even measured any measurable rain here today in South Florida. Here's our barometer from the tower cam up there, and notice it's dropping like a rock. Our current pressure is 29.61 inches, so it continues to drop as this system moves in, and started dropping around the 24th. So the last several days, this pressure has been dropping, and that's due to the very low pressures in the Western Caribbean Sea, and that's why the models are indicating another system is going to develop down there due to the very low pressures. Here's the steering flow from SIMS, and you can see that the flow is generally south to north, so this should go right up the state of Florida and right into the Carolinas. There's no doubt about that. Most of the models indicate that is what's going to happen. All right, let's take a look at the floater loop, visible shot of our system, and you can see the rotation here. And the system has got a very large circulation, but earlier today it looked like there might be another low trying to form down in this area, down in here, but the broad low is taken over up in here near the Isle of Youth, and this is where the center of circulation is as this moves northeast. Again, there's pretty mountainous terrain in Cuba too, so that's not going to help matters as it crosses over. So this should remain a very weak system as it moves into South Florida. And we end up our tropical update with the water vapor loop of the Atlantic Basin. And again, not much mystery here as to what's going to happen. Here's the trough, and the tropical system is going to follow that trough and move right up the eastern seaboard and merge with this frontal zone and dump a lot of rain all over the mid-Atlantic, all over the eastern seaboard from Florida all the way up to the northeast. Is going to get rain out of this. And this will be the next player right here. This could either be Nicole or Otto, depending on if this becomes Nicole or not. But this will move off to the west-northwest. That'll be the next system we'll keep an eye on. But again, there's going to be another area of low pressure that will form down here and track off to the northeast, and that should be about the same strength, if not maybe even weaker, due to the wind shear in the southwestern Atlantic Basin. All right, that's it for now. We'll be back tomorrow. And again, check out hurricanecity.tv. At the very least, we'll leave the tower cam up. We may do some streaming on the dashboard cam if this hits as a tropical storm, and give you a little bit of wave action out on the east coast here, and let you see what's happening on with the waves on hurricanecity.tv. That's it for now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.